And welcome to Late to the Party. My name is Anthony, and I am with Robb Benson. And this is kind of like our first episode together, but we've kind of had a show before. It was recorded. Now we are live across multiple platforms on Facebook and YouTube Live on a Touring Fan Live channel. But before we get into all this, let me get this started real quick with the introduction of the host with the most, Mr. Robb Benson, all the way from the good old state of Washington. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm great. It's a wonderful Saturday so far.
It
gonna get better.
It is. I will say this is the first time we're doing this where I'm actually getting closer to you. Before I did a show, I was in Virginia. Now I'm in the middle of the country in Kansas City. I feel like sooner or later we'll just be closer and closer and do one together.
I don't know that I'm going to be moving that way anytime soon, but maybe, who knows? You never know. So we'll slowly
we'll figure it out.
Our way together.
That's
We'll
right.
get it right. Yeah. But how cool. You're in Kansas City.
It is.
You digging it?
Yeah. Different. You know, I've said this a million times and it's true. Like, I thought it was going to be colder here moving to the Midwest. Like, I was like, hey, Virginia, Midwest going out here. It is a lie. It has been hotter here than it was in Virginia. It is more humid here than I ever expected in my entire life.
Oh, yeah.
It's
summertime.
gross.
Summertime. When you move, what was the month?
So we moved here. I was back and forth through since May, but we moved here officially in June. Maybe it was in May. No, we moved here.
You haven't had your January, your December, January, February, that kind of stuff. That's going to change. That's going to rock your world.
Yeah, I don't know if you know something, but I lived up in the Northeast, lived in Maine, lived in Massachusetts.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah,
you've been through it. Yeah, you've been through it.
I've been through it, and I enjoy the cold weather. I'd rather have a bunch of clothes on that I could take off layers than have one layer on and I'm just dying.
Yeah,
it's gross. I mean, the other day we went. My daughter is now getting into music, and she started in School of Rock. So
I saw that. That was a great video. She's playing her first ever show.
Oh God! So she's done 2 concerts already. So the other day, she's played 2. The other day she played 2 songs. She played guitar for the first time to Weezer's Beverly Hills, with a bunch of other kids her age. And it's if you're watching it not understanding, you're like, oh my God, it's a train wreck. But to see kids that they're happy with what they're doing, right? And it's. I don't know. It's heartwarming for me to see these kids do stuff, work real hard and perform. Whether it sounds one way or the other, it's cool. So my daughter played Weezer's Beverly Hills, and then she emotionally I was holding it all in, but she played the Ramones and on keyboard, and I was oh. And then her first concert, heart exploded. First concert she sang, and she sang Tom Petty's she played Free Falling.
Oh,
and I was like. I can't. It was.
That's awesome. Well, I love that stuff. I would much rather watch that any day of the week than see the class of all the classical out-of-tune kids doing trying to do some Beethoven thing or something that they're never gonna nail or whatever. Say, get them playing rock and roll.
That's right. I do want to make. I will answer the question on the board. I am wearing a My Morning Jacket shirt. Robb is wearing a Touring Fan Live shirt, which I love. I'm going to screenshot this, and that's going to be all over. But yes, I do not have a Plants in the Ocean shirt yet. That should be coming. I will wear that.
Well, I just got them yesterday, so it's going to take me a second to get it to you.
Yes. I will make sure.
Would you prefer a teal green or a charcoal sort of darkish? Almost black, but not. It's charcoal. I'll have to send you some colors later.
Send me colors. I'll
and then you have to
pick.
Oh yeah, they both pop, and we wanted to kind of go with something different, so they pop.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
Fun.
And
it's fun.
Man, it's crazy because we've had conversations over the last. I think it counted. It was it's been 7 months since we actually had a show come out.
Has it been? Oh my God, time flies.
Yeah. Well, we've got so much going on in our lives, but
yeah.
And we've texted and we've kept in touch, but it's
of course,
I didn't really. The things that have changed in 7 months' time, right? Because the last time we spoke, I actually went back and watched the show. I was talking about potentially moving to Kansas City in 2 years, not now. And
so how did that become so fast? What your son's in the soccer thing, right? It's
correct.
Really
correct.
And
so my son signed with Sporting Kansas City in Kansas City, so he's signed on the dotted line. They officially own him, and
at that age.
Yeah, we started noticing
it starts early.
he was just not. He got to a level in Virginia that he couldn't be trained beyond. Like he just hit a wall.
Okay.
And we noticed if we wanted him to get to where we knew he could get, he needed to be here full time. The housing market got real hot. We found out that what we paid for a house 2 years prior to what we could sell a house for was drastically different, and that would set us up for a house here. And
awesome.
So we tested it, and we put our house. Actually, I think you'll get a kick out of this. We literally said, "Let's test the market, and we'll put it in the hands of the universe. Whatever happens, we put our house in the market on a Friday.
Yes.
Monday, the house was sold. Tuesday, I was leaving to go to Chicago to see Eddie Vedder. On the way there, my wife's like, "Hey,
of course you were.
Go to Kansas City. Don't come home. Buy a house." I'm like, "All right." So I went to Kansas City, and I got real lucky with the house we're in. We live in this beautiful house.
Oh my God!
It's 4 bedrooms finished right now with 2 baths. We're in a basement that's finished, like my movie room. But then I have 2 other rooms. One I'm in that's my studio. Another one that also has a bathroom. So by the time we're done, we'll be 6 bedrooms, 3 baths. We're in a private community, so we have this like community pool, and it's just we're literally like, dude, we're 4.5 minutes from Charlotte School of Rock. We're like 8 minutes from like where she does like rock climbing. We're 15 minutes from where Brady plays soccer. God. Like everything is just good. Now we did have a lot. That
sounds more than good. Yeah.
Yeah, everything.
That's hiccups are gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. Yeah. Yeah.
But no,
so
we're here.
You've got through them. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and I will say this: since the last time we've had a show, you look fantastic.
I could say the same thing about you, my friend. It's been a lot of changes for both of us. We took a journey. For me, it was. Everybody has their different reasons for doing what they're doing, but I mean, I just kind of felt like I needed to get a little more healthy with the weight wise and all that kind of stuff. And I've dropped about since our last show. I bet I've probably dropped about 50 pounds, something like that.
It's amazing, absolutely phenomenal. Well, thanks, I think the one thing I will ask you, and I'm not sure if this is true for you, but it definitely is true for me. I feel like once I lost weight, and I stopped worrying so much about how people judge me or look at me, even though, my wife would be like, "You look amazing." Or people say you look fine. Like, I felt like my mental health got better a little bit. Like, I was not so worried about how people looked at me and how I was being perceived that I just felt better about things.
Well, and the mental health aspect, I mean, all of us went through a mental health crisis in the early pandemic times, right? We all were sort of shut in, didn't know how bad it was going to get, what it was going to be, what the long-term or short-term results would be. Yeah, we all went through a massive mental crisis. And I think, yes, it definitely helps to feel good about yourself. I mean, to feel comfortable with your own skin, your own body. So yeah, and I'm definitely feeling that. So that, yeah, man, it's been a really positive thing. So congrats to you. I'm feeling good too. So yeah, look at us on the same little path there in that way.
That's right. That's right. It's interesting how things work that way. I think,
right?
One cool thing that I've always enjoyed about talking to you about is you get real passionate about music. And that's why I always thought about this connection between us work, because we've had conversations on the phone where it was endless ramblings about music. And I love that. And when we did Robb and Anthony's World Tour, I made it real difficult because I'm like, you need to find a band that you've never heard of in some foreign country, and it was homework.
It was massive homework, harder than I ever expected it would have been. It was fun work, and that was during the pandemic, so we had the time to kind of do a little more stuff. But yeah, it was work, dude, and we did it. But it was I don't know where you were going. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it was tiring. Now I did make some cool friends out of it. Paul from Paul and Tall Trees. He's been on the show quite a few times. And
really?
He is
awesome. God.
And he's been on a couple of the live performances we've done and stuff. And we've talked, and we're hoping to do some more stuff in the future. He's been great. Jackson Pines was on the show. We've become great friends, and he turned me on to. We met in Jersey, and they played a shot. It's crazy.
Wow.
How everything worked out. But no, so let's talk about what Late to the Party is going to be. First of all, it's going to be ramblings from me and Rob. We're going to talk about random things.
Yeah. My original thought of Late to the Party was because of a band that Guan Chang, our bass player, has introduced. So he found him, I don't know how, maybe it was he goes on all these bass player sites where people are sharing stuff, this and that. And somebody was like, my buddy's band was so good, they should have been huge, and blah, blah, blah. And he goes and looks at it, and he freaks out, sends them to me. It's a band called El Macho. And the song he first sent to me was a live song in studio called Bombs. And I just was like, who are they? And then I looked at the timeline. I think it was like early 2012, 13, 14, somewhere in there. I'm like, why are they not massively huge? It made no sense to me. They were so good, so amazing. And I thought, I'm here in 2022 and I'm late to the party, right? Yeah. And there's so many bands like that. And some of them are already big in other people's eyes. Like there's other bands that are huge, but I don't know about them. And then I hear about them late and I'm like, man, I'm late to the party on that one. That whole thing, That's
great.
So that was the idea I pitched you. I was like, man, those bands that you find a little bit later, maybe some people totally already know they're stars, but a lot of people don't, a lot of people don't know yet. So that's how it started for me. And I know you have a million of those bands that you've come across.
Man, yeah, and so you have 2 tonight, I have 2 tonight. I am excited about chatting with these, and you actually it worked out perfectly. We didn't do this, but actually El Macho is the first band of the evening. We're going to be talking about. I have the Bomb song, and we're going to play that. Let's play it right now. Are we ready?
Do it. Let's go.
Like fever, like fever, like fever. Oh, lick it.
I hear you down the phone tonight. You're looking for a place to hide. Remember when we found you
I mean, I was just like, I was blown away when I heard that. I just like, holy crap! And that's live in the studio. So, I did a little research on the band, and I guess the drummer was in Ben Folds 5.
Oh wow!
I didn't know that. So it kind of seems like individually they were all like really more popular as their own thing or as other things. The singer, she was from Australia, and she was super big as a solo artist in Australia only, but not so much here. Her name is Butterfly Butcher, and if you look up Butterfly Butcher, she did a song with David Bowie. She actually did a change. She did changes when she was like a teenager or young, super young, I guess, or I don't know if a teenager, but she looked really young at the time. And it was for a Shrek movie where they did it, and he just was like gushing about how it was very end of his life, and she was really young, and then she was like, "I'm gonna go to Nashville." I think it's Nashville. I could be wrong about that. Maybe I get the two mixed up. What are the two? Tennessee, there's Nashville and there's
Nashville and Knoxville? No. Nashville.
No, there's the Nashville and the other place that's pretty big in Tennessee. I get the two mixed up all the time.
I do too.
But she went to Tennessee and decided to go there to try to build it in America. And I don't know that it's done what she thought it was going to do. I think she had more things going on in Australia and that kind of thing. And then the singer, I think he might be originally from maybe New York or somewhere. I don't know. There's some interesting stuff about him. He's got a bunch of albums out and has done it. I can't remember his name, but yeah, what a cool band. But there's bands like that all over the world, right? That are just like so talented and they're, just destroying, and yet, they're playing clubs like the rest of us. You're just kind of playing a few hundred people, whatever. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how it works.
Memphis is the other one we get.
Okay, you're right. You did. Yeah, you nailed it. It's either one of the two. I think it might be Nashville, but I don't know.
Nashville's the music. I think Nashville's more of the.
Okay, it must be. That's
the
music. Like the music. Yeah. But I always think Nashville. I always think like country, but maybe that's changed.
I've never been, so I've heard.
I mean, I've never been anywhere near there yet. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've heard it's great. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
But I mean, what a cool, like, there's so much history. You start diving into these things, like all these people have all these different bands, different things.
It is interesting because I do think the one thing that I've learned too is like once you start diving into artists and you start realizing where else they perform, it's such a small world of like different. Oh, yeah. You get areas and they all like work together, and this one's work with this one, and then they have this album, and it's surprising. I'll give you an example. The other night I was watching The Girl Next Door. It's a movie from like 2002. Okay. And on there, I'm like, man, that singer sounds so familiar. And I'm like, that can't be Sean Smith. No, that's no way it's Sean Smith. And then to come find out, it was Satchel. And for some reason, I never knew Satchel was Sean Smith singing. Okay. I thought it was always Brad. So it was like, but then you start realizing like all these moving pieces from that time frame, and it's wild.
In Seattle, we all kind of know the history of the Seattle bands because we've all been here. We've seen the, Satchel evolve into things, and the Brad thing, and then Sean, and then unfortunately his early loss of him, and that was absolutely devastating. But I was always such a fan of all of his work. And speaking of him, and the fact that, he was always on the cusp of being this. To us, he was always a star. He was always just massive, right? But I don't know that it ever really broke internationally like that for him, which I don't know, man. It's crazy how that works. But I felt really, really, really lucky to get to play. Finally, at one point, Embers did play a show with him. Mm-hmm. Him, and Sweetwater, a band around here. I don't know if you know them, Sweetwater. Yeah. They've done a lot of. They did the same type of thing. They're a great band, and they've just been doing it for forever and doing their thing. But yeah, I got to play a great show, a sold out show with him at Numos, and it was really fun, and just talking to him, hanging out with him. He just, what a lovely individual. The guy was awesome.
No, he amazing voice, 100%.
Voice of gold, yeah.
Now, I will say, I understand 100% why Guan loved that band. The bass heavy riffs. And how forefront. There was many parts of the song, the bass was very much overbearing of the guitar. You definitely hear that more distinctively than you heard like even the guitar playing, and it was awesome. It was, and the way she's playing it, and it was beautiful. I like the song. I never heard it before. I try not to listen to any of this. Like I just download the video and throw it up so that. Oh, cool.
Yeah. No, it's been a big this whole process of the last few months of our lives and just trying to like figure out what we're doing and who we are and what we want to do next. And that was a big piece of like what kind of brought me and him back together after sort of embers decided to kind of disperse. And just a lot of talk about things. And I remember telling him about how much I really miss being in a trio because their bass has so much more space in a trio. Bass can really like take over the whole, like it can really have a lot of territory. Drums too, really, because in trios, you really do. You saw how the drummer really had just tons of space to play in. Because the guitarist, you know, he's busy. That guy was busy just sort of laying down these cool chords and keeping it open. And when that's happening, there's just a lot of room to go all over the place. So yeah, it was just sort of a big inspiration for both of us. We just kind of were like, wow, this is definitely same page kind of thing, you know? Yeah, it was cool.
No, it was awesome. Now let's talk about the next artist. This is one of mine. The artist is Free Union. They're actually out of Charlottesville, Virginia, so it's right in my old neck of the woods, my old backyard. The artist, the lead singer of this band, his name is Michael Coleman.
Okay.
I've known Michael Coleman for a long time. Quite a few years ago, back in 2014, I used to be on a radio show in Lynchburg, and we were doing this event, and we needed some musicians. I ended up finding him online. He was a solo artist, and this is when he was like in the early stages of his career. He performed. Okay. I ended up photographing his first album cover. Which looking back at it was god awful, and I'm so sorry. Then he went on to like just grow as a person. I've kind of sat back and watched him. He's like he's a father now. He's married, but he grew this band called Free Union out of Charlottesville, Virginia, and they've played in some big pavilions over there. The music's heard on the radio, and I dig them. So this song is called Good Life by Free Union, and I hope you dig it as much as I do. You ready, Rob?
I can't wait.
All right.
Just give me a taste of the good life. The pressure's bearing down on me. You can't help but dream of the good life. Something seen only in dreams. Wait and see what we come up with, darling. Maybe, finally, I'll show you all that there is to see, my love. Maybe, come on, is that what we need? Is that what we need? Is that what we need? I wanted to believe that we could be happy and safe with the good life. Holding on to all that we need. Wait and see what we come up with, darling. Maybe, finally, I'll show you all that there is to see, my love. Maybe, is that what we need? that what we need? Is that what we need? Oh, is that what we need? Is that what we need? Is that what we need now? Is that what we need? Hey, God.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
Mike, I
love it.
Yeah, Michael Coleman.
The bass player, man, that guy could just groove. He reminded me. I played with a guy for very briefly after a band breakup that we had, and I kind of put a solo album out. And this guy was with me for a brief time, and then he was like, "Hey, man," he played a lot like that dude. Just had that just super soul thing going on, and he was like, "Yeah, I got this offer to play with this band I think it was in Virginia. I'm pretty sure." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Yeah, it's."
I know who it is. I know exactly who you're talking about.
You know who it is?
I bet you.
You know who I'm talking about.
Wait, let me give some hints, and you tell me if I'm on the right path.
Okay.
He moved to Richmond, Virginia, to be in a big band from the '90s.
Yes.
They've had music in Curious George. The band's called.
I
Carbon
don't know
Leaf,
about that. Yes, that's the band.
And it's John Markle.
John Markle was my bass player for an album that I put out, a solo album. Solo album I put out after a band broke up. Dear John Letters, my old band, broke up, and I kind of got shelved on a label. I don't know if this is. I don't want to bring it back to myself, but like it's just a weird process to be shelved. I didn't even know I was gonna be shelved, but I was like telling the label. The band broke up, and the label's like, "All right, well, we own you," and I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, you have a year to like produce demos, and if you it's in your contract, read it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And if you they were out of LA, and I was like, "Okay, so what do I do?" And they were like, "Send me all these demos you can. And if we agree to it, then we'll put out the next album and we'll give you a big advance." And the advance looked like really attractive. Like as a solo artist, it was like, hell yeah, I could live off that. I could, this is like a dream come true. So I started researching around, trying to find some cool people to play with. And John Markle was one of them. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I love your stuff. Let's play." And I go, "I don't know if this label thing's going to happen or not. I'm hoping it will, because there'll be money for us to tour around and all this kind of stuff." And him and then Eric Eagle, this really badass drummer, played, and we played around as Robb Benson and what do we call it? Robb Benson and the Tree Mind for a while. And then the album ended up being called The Tree Mind.
Are you ready?
And he played on
blown even further.
Yes, please.
John Markle has played with Michael Coleman.
See, it all just what the hell, music, man?
Yeah, small world. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah. So,
I mean, we've never been in the same room together, and yet, we're talking about people that all connected in some ways. So you know him now. Have you talked to John before? Have you ever? Nice guy.
I've seen Carbon Leaf quite a few times. I mean, they play in Virginia. It's their staple band over there. You see them all the time.
Yeah.
They're actually coming to Kansas City in a couple months. I'm going to go see them then. But
John, me too. When they come to Seattle, yeah.
Oh yeah, John played with Michael a few times. I feel like they recorded together too.
It makes perfect sense. He has that same vibe, that really like super soul vibe. Like, whoo, he's a smoking player. Anyways, So when he left, it was a bummer, but it was also like time to move on. But he also introduced me to this guy, Ty Bailey. Do you know Ty at all? Ty Bailey?
I know Ty. Ty played in Starman and the Laughing Dogs.
Yeah.
And,
so Ty, I met Ty through John, and John was like, "You got to play with this guy." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. What's he do?" And he's like, "Well, he's a jazz keyboard player, but he wants to get into rock and roll. He's never played in a rock band." And I was his first rock experience. So John and I and Ty played with our buddy Eric Eagle, and started kind of jamming. That was the end of my sort of solo band with those guys. He played the last couple shows of it. And then I said, "Ty, do you want to be in a rock band?" And I said, I'll grab Cassidy and we'll start a new band called Department of Energy. And he's like, "Yeah, man, that sounds fun. I want to be in a rock band. It sounds cool." And so we started playing around, and we did 3 albums with him, but it sort of introduced him to everyone. Like people would see him and just poach him. Like, "We have a show this day, this is what we'll pay you." And he started getting paid. He was so good, just so good. And that was the same type of thing. Like we were lucky to have him for 3 albums, and we had a blast with him. And then he was like, "I'm going to go to LA to make things happen." And I said, "Dude, just go do it. I'll miss the hell out of you. And that band dissolved, and he went to LA, and within a couple of years, he was in Katy Perry's band. So
crazy. I know.
I think he's in Nashville now. I think he moved to Nashville because Katy Perry, her band dissolved. So
yeah, I believe
she's
last
got
time
a
I
couple
saw her.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, crazy.
Oh, wait, did you say the last time you saw Katy Perry? What?
Yeah. Oh yeah, big Katy Perry fan. I got the tattoo of Katy Perry on the chest. I'd show it, but
okay,
you know.
that's what I was asking about. Yeah.
No, but it's weird how small the world is. That
right.
You know. Anyway, let's get to the next band.
Yeah, we always talk
yours. No, it's great.
Wait, what? What are we doing? We're doing that.
Yeah, your band.
A band that I picked.
How about this?
Are you talking about Bahamas?
Bahamas or your own music? We could do that last, however you want to do.
Oh, you wanted me to? Let's do our band then. What the hell? Let's get that out there. I'm sure that if anyone's listening to us babble, they're like, "What the hell? We wanted to hear the song, dude."
All right. So why don't you give some introduction to it? I have thrown together a very quick video to go with the music. It is nothing official.
Oh, wow.
I just want. Yeah, I worked on it this morning. It's nothing crazy, but I just want.
You are awesome. You are awesome.
You know, why don't you talk about it, and then we're going to go right into it.
All right, we went into it. So it was a really random thing. We're doing this thing. Originally, this band, Planets in the Ocean, we're just going to do one song or one show. It's just going to be a thing. Someone asked us to do it. We agreed. Our old band had broke up, and 3 of us are moving on and are trying to play a show. And after a couple of weeks of playing, we got kind of excited because some of the songs were really coming together fast. It was like boom, 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 boom. And so this buddy of ours, Chris, asked us to join him in the studio for free because he was a student at the Robert Lang Studios, which is a famous studio in town. They've recorded everybody. And we're like, yeah, free day. Why not? I mean, a free day that would have cost us $800. Yes, let's go do it. And so we go do it. It goes amazingly well. The instructor freaks out, loves the 2 songs we do. And then we work out a deal for him to mix it and master it. A week or so later, it's out. We have the first songs, the A side is going to be, it was already out there, Splinter, and that's been played on a bunch of radio stations already locally. And this is the debut of the B side, which is Decisions. And no one's really heard this yet, except for you who will be listening to this soon.
All right, here we go.
Gentle is the night, horrid is the moon, darker does the sun get in your afternoon. The streets go torn with yelling, while brothers in the
Video
There you
was
go.
freaking amazing. But that was actually Splinter.
No!
Yeah. I love that though. Splinter's been getting so much play, or not so much, but for us so much, because we're not used to getting like last night it got played in Seattle and then like syndicated. It's gonna be syndicated next week to Bellingham, Whatcom County, to Ocean Shores, to all these different stations because of one person. And then another person played it earlier in the week, and then it was also played on American Songwriter. And we were like, yeah, so we got to get the B-side. And so I don't know if I did a mistake and sent you the wrong wave file or what, but that's hilarious to me. That's actually really funny. I'm sorry you did all that work to there's decisions, but no, it's Splinter. But it's funny because our drummer Cassidy, he's like, man, I swear to God, man, we just got to play this one for everybody. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's a cool song, but we got to get the B-side played too because it's super cool. And but no, we don't have to do that tonight. But,
oh man, I what the living hell?
I love it. I love that. That's super funny. I love it.
Yeah, because the file, I looked at the file and it's labeled as decisions.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh man,
might have been clerical error. I'm known to do that. I do that a lot.
I only worked on it for like, I don't know, 3 hours or something. It's not a big deal.
I'm so sorry, dude.
No, I mean, it's all good. No.
It was phenomenal though. Super cool, man. Where do you get all that stock footage?
I have a couple of accounts that I pay monthly for, and then I was
really?
like,
okay.
I was like, well,
Man,
let's go
wicked.
Literal. Oceans, planets, let's just throw them all together in a
Yeah,
solar and
right,
just kind of
right. Oh
So-
man, that's super cool. I love the video. That was great. No, but that is definitely the A side that we've been pushing and love, and we're really happy with it, and we love how it came out and all that stuff. But I mean, the fact that we went into a studio in one day and did 2 songs, we were expecting just to do one, and we were just done. It was like second take. All right, cool, and just like happened so fast, and I'm not used to that. None of us are used to that. We're used to going in the studio and being like, just slogging over things, just really trying to like get things done. And 4 or 5 days later, maybe you got a few songs going or something. But somehow this thing, just a real fast situation. And then the second song, we literally did live. It was like live. It was like, it was we a couple of little fixes here and there. I think Guan did a few bass fixes and I did one line fixed but I kept my live vocals in. I just was like, I like them. That's fine. It was on an SM7. Do you know that mic at all? It's a good broadcast.
Yes, 100%.
The Shure SM7. And I was just saying, and the instructor Kevin was like, hey man, so we're gonna have to figure out. There's a lot of drum bleed because it was like, we're just playing live in this big studio, and he expected me to go in and redo the vocals. I'm like, man, I really like those vocals. They're great. He's like, okay, so I'll have to really work on that for mixing because, there's the cymbals are coming in through your vocal mic and stuff, and I'm gonna have to figure out how not to make that, I don't know, ring some weird frequency or something like that. But he was really talented and really awesome, and yeah, it was just one of those. The whole start of this whole thing's been just very magical, very lucky, we just stumbled into fortunate situations, and so it really seems like that song needs to be pushed, I guess.
I cannot believe it. I am going to work on, send me the decisions file. I'll throw a video together, and then I'll have it out this weekend, and you push it wherever you want to. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man, I seriously, are you sure, man? I don't want to put more work on your plate. It's not like you're only getting like 3 hours of sleep a night these days. I know you have kids and a massive amount of stuff you do. And I appreciate every bit of it.
Oh, yeah. We'll get the Wi-Fi. I'll get it. So stay tuned to the Touring Fans page. We'll have that video out by tomorrow evening. I'll have it done.
How about that, guys? It's coming out. We just punked you all.
Yeah, it's like we teased you. We're going to show you something. Wait, I've heard this already. You did. It's a tease to get you to keep on tuning in. It's a cliffhanger. Oh,
that's crazy.
Well, let's go into the next song. It's your choice, too. This is a band called Bahamas.
Now, they're massively huge, and I did not know it, and that's why I say late to the party, because I remember 4 or 5 years ago hearing this song in a commercial. Is it let's see, I got all the time in the world, all the time in the world, or something like that?
Yes, all the time.
Yeah. So all the time. So when I first heard it was on a commercial, and I was just like, that song is wicked. I got to know who this artist is. It's so good. And I don't know. I should have, Shazammed it or whatever, but I was just in my busy mode doing whatever. And I'd just be like, oh, there's that commercial again. Killer band. That band's going to be huge, blah, blah, blah. And I just never, isn't that funny now? Like one commercial can basically make a band huge. We're all one commercial away from changing our lives. But no, and I just forgot about it. And I went on a thing where it was like, I just kind of wasn't really looking for music for a while. Maybe I got kind of stuck in you get in the rut where you're like, I want to find new music, but I'm just kind of doing my thing, too busy, grinding, doing whatever. And recently I started doing the, what is it called? The Pandora thing again. I hadn't done that in a while. And I put in, I've got a bunch of different Pandora channels to listen to different sounds and find different music. And one of my old favorite bands, I don't want to say old, but like from about 10 years ago was Dr. Dog. Do you know them at all?
No, not familiar with them at all.
Well, holy crap. That's another one you should definitely check out because they're amazing. Dr. Dog is like the modern indie Beatles or something. Two singer-songwriters. They trade off. They're both amazing. They're both super great, and the band is killer. Great live band, although I guess they just I think they might have just quit finally. Anyways, you know what? In fact, I think this is another connection. My Morning Jacket might have discovered Dr. Dog, the lead singer from My Morning Jacket. I could be completely wrong, but I think I remember reading a Wikipedia thing where the lead singer from My Morning Jacket, where's he from? Philadelphia?
No, he's from Kentucky. Okay.
Well, these guys I think are from Philly. I could be wrong about that too. My brain's always scattered, but lead singer of what I believe is My Morning Jacket. It could be a different band, but I think it's My Morning Jacket. Stumbles in to a club and sees them play and freaks out on them and is like, you guys are going on tour with us. And they're like, we're not prepared for this. Like, what? And he's like, no, you're just going. And it just changed their whole lives. Like,
wow.
Lives changed. Like, they instantly had at least a following to go around the country and play those sort of, 1,000-person clubs after that. And they really just destroyed it and continue to destroy it. But it's a grind, as we all know. And they did that for 7-8 years in a row. Many, many tours, many, many albums. And I think they just got super burned and never made it to the arena level, but they definitely, were a worthy name and an awesome indie band. Anyway, so I put Dr. Dog in, and all the bands in Pandora that came on after them, I loved. The Alabama Shakes, do you know them?
I'm familiar with them, yes.
Okay, so badass band. Bands like Spoon and Ward, all these bands came on. But then one day, I was putting on that channel and jamming in my car, having a good time, and the Bahamas came on, and All the Time came on. I'm like, that's that band! And since then, it's what, Pandora does this thing where, like, if you get in a band loop, like, you'll say this band, and then it spits out about 7 or 8, and it kind of spins them over and over and over again, kind of. I don't know if you know that channel much, Pandora, but it just kind of spins stuff that they think sounds similar or vibe or energy-wise. And so it kept on playing Bahamas, and everything they played from Bahamas was just blowing me away. And that's one song especially. But it's got like, 12 million listens or some weird thing. So they're huge in somebody's backyard. But not in mine. I didn't know them. I didn't know who the hell
I've never heard.
I love them.
I never heard of them until you sent me the list. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's just keep spreading the word because they're badass.
All right, here we go. Bahamas all the time.
I got all the time in the world. Don't you want some of that? Some of that.
Went over a little bit. Yeah, so it's funny though that you played a live version, which is really cool, but in the studio version or the one that was in the commercial, he's doing it an octave higher, which is interesting to me. He had the girl kind of singing it the octave higher. He's like, that time in the world on the studio thing, but like there he's going all the time. Maybe he doesn't want to kill his voice. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's interesting to me. Like in the studio version, he's really making the high octave very forward, and so I would have imagined him doing that live. But I was shocked to see the live version that you played there, where he's like totally like, nope, I'm almost like folk rocking it through it. But I mean, it's all cool, it's killer. But the version in the studio that's in the commercial is definitely way different. It's interesting.
Well, so we have a limitation of what videos we can play due to like copyright.
Oh yeah,
laws.
I'm sure there is. Yeah, I'm sure there is.
So it was like this and a couple other ones, but some of them were like they didn't sound as good quality. So I was like, all right, this one was the best one.
It sounded really good. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Definitely good.
It's just interesting. Like you see, like bands, like they. Well, I'm not somebody that wants to go out and hear the record live. Like exactly, I want to hear your recreation of it, or I want to go out and hear kind of what you're up to or what you're feeling at the moment. And like Pearl Jam, one of the bands that you follow, and you started this whole channel on that, right? So, I mean, they don't play the same sounding song every single night. Like every night, it might be a different. Eddie might take a different vocal path, or Mike might play a different solo, or it's just going to go different ways, right? Mm-hmm. And I admire that. I don't want to go out and just hear a perfect recreation of the record. I want to hear your artistic revisioning of it or whatever.
Totally agree with you. And it's interesting because the concept behind the show and what you're saying is like flows into what the next artist is that we're going to be talking about. But I agree with you. Like it's tough for me now because it's hard when you hear a new artist and then you go see them live and you can hear that the studio made them who they were and they're not able to carry that onto a live platform. It's not like it was 10, 15 years ago where they could pull something. Like the Bahamas thing was awesome. I actually enjoyed that performance of it. I'm very interested.
Oh, it's badass. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And hear more about it. But, I haven't, besides the band Rain Wolf and, I even found some like, Spoon, which is funny you mentioned it a little while ago. I never even knew who the band Spoon was until I saw them live 2 months ago.
No way. No way.
Swear to you, dude. Never
even. And Spoon has been around for a really long time. They were like the original indie band, right? They were one of the original.
My buddy calls me right before I'm leaving Virginia. And he's like, hey, man, I got tickets to go see Spoon. You want to go with me? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And he's like, well, here's the new album. I'm like, all right. So I got hooked on the new album, Lucifer on the Couch. And I got hooked on. I got hooked. So I'm like, I dug the album. And then I went there and I'm like, man, this band's amazing. I'm like, they sold out the National in Richmond, which is it's a big, very small, but they sold out. I'm like, wow, who the hell is this band? And then I'm kind of finding out they're from the 90s. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Totally late to the party.
It's crazy. Late to the party is the key, right? But I think there's a ton of bands that from the 90s and the early 2000s that really got lost in that sort of indie rock shuffle. Indie rock didn't really break. No one knew how to get these bands to the next level because radio was dying in a weird way. Like podcasts were just barely in their infancy.
Yep.
iTunes, all that was barely, it was brand new. Spotify didn't exist back then. So even we had a band, Dear John Letters, and at the time, this is 2003, LA label. The biggest I've ever been on any run on radio and all that kind of thing was we got pushed to, we were on heavy rotation on over 200 stations nationwide. We were number 34 on the CMJ charts. I think Built to Spill was just ahead of us and Spoon was just behind us. It was like this, I'm sitting in my office job thinking, we made it. We made it. We made it. But we didn't make it because it turns out there's a lot of legwork. You got to get out there. You got to tour. You got to do the things, and you got to do. You got to have everything fall into place. That's just the beginning, opening doors. But it's great to have those stations playing you. But who listened to college radio? Maybe it wasn't I mean, 200 stations. Okay. They're like college radio station. Now there's podcasts, there's YouTube, there's everything. Everything's completely changed. I feel like I'm relearning the whole spectrum of how to even be a rock and roll band or an indie band these days. You know, like, what do you do? Well, you get together with your friends, Anthony, and you try to share it that way. You try to share with your friends and try to open doors and do things. But yeah, it's a new terrain. So things have way changed.
Yeah, and it's tough too, I think, as a new musician to get your music out there, because the fact that, you know, it's so oversaturated online,
yes,
with people throwing all this music out, that what I saw a statistic of the day, and I could be saying this wrong, but every 60 seconds, I think 100 new songs are uploaded online.
That's insane.
If you did the math, every minute, 100 new songs, that's 1,000 songs in 10 minutes. That's, I don't know, math hurts my head. But it's a lot.
Even if 1% are awesome, you're competing against a lot of songs that are amazingly awesome. Sometimes that's the weird thing. Like I'll be like, I'll hit a station that just is playing, or I'll listen to a podcast, or I'll listen to something that's playing, just hitting all my like heartstrings, right? And then I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing anymore? There's too many good bands out there. How can I swim in this sea of fish? And then there's other times when I listen to commercial radio and I'm like, we could do that. We're better than that.
Yeah, it is a weird thing too, and I have a hard time. And that's why I have a hard time finding new bands. But the same person that brought me to Spoon brought me to the next band we're going to talk about. And to continue down the train of Virginia bands, and also have my new Virginia tattoo on my arm, because
that's awesome.
I do miss Virginia.
I'm sure you do.
There's a band in Harrisonburg, Virginia, that I believe potentially is the next big thing. I really wholeheartedly believe this. They're a two-piece band, drummer and guitar.
I love that.
That's it.
I love that.
And the drummer plays in a very unique way, and I'll let you see that in a minute.
Okay. You would have to, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is actually a visual thing. But I saw this band in Charlottesville, Virginia, at a place called the Jefferson Theater, which is one of the most magical places on the East Coast to play a show. It's got a lot of history. It's in the roots of Charlottesville. It's beautiful. Anyway, this band, I've never seen the most eclectic group of people, the most fun time, and there's this great picture of like me and my buddy Paul on the sidelines, and we're like looking at everything, and you could see our face of like, just kind of like, what are we doing here? And all this amazing stuff is happening, because they're like, I don't know, but anyway, this band, the lead singer kind of has a sound of like a Jim James, or even a Ben from Band of Horses. They do cover.
Okay, there you go.
They do cover a little bit of Neil Young sometimes. They do cover some of My Morning
Love
Jacket.
that.
A new album on the way. They just announced their first headlining tour. They're actually coming to Kansas City, which I'm excited about. P.S. Love the fact that these bands come to Kansas City. Like, that is amazing. But this band is called Illiterate Light. They're from Harrisonburg, Virginia. And I hope you dig them as much as I do. You ready, Rob?
I can't wait to hear it. Yeah, I'm ready. That band is awesome. Oh my God, that band is awesome.
Oh God.
You have brought the winners tonight. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much for inspiring
me. I think
it's almost but it's like that weird thing. It's like, holy shit, everything you're bringing to the table. I'm like, I'm unworthy. That whole thing. Like, you're like, God, sometimes I'm like, Jesus, there's so many freaking bands out there that are amazing. And like, how do you swim in the sea of awesomeness, right? But I guess you just got to be you and you have fun and you do your thing. And who cares, right?
That's right.
I'm happy playing a club in front of a couple hundred people and having a blast and just doing my thing. That's what I've done my whole life. So, that's all it ever is.
Well, it's tough too because there, like you said, there's so many bands, right? There's so many
great bands. And the young youth are coming up and they're playing badass stuff and they're killing.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. There's every generation has their own sound, but I kind of feel like,
right.
I still think there's still very much a flow or a spillover from the early 2000s going on to right now. Like, I feel like a lot of things,
of course, still,
I don't know. It's
good.
There's
a mix, and I've really got drawn back into the sort of like late 90s, early 2000s for what we're doing now, like just because there was such a cool influx of music that never really made the mainstream, Crap, our old band, we played with Death Cab for Cutie. We played 5-6 shows with those guys, and they were really cool, really nice guys. Chris Wallow is one of the most wonderful people I've ever met. And, they were one of the very fortunate indie bands to kind of become a name that really went on too far. We played with Pedro the Lion. Do you remember them? Pedro the Lion.
I do remember Pedro.
We played Dave Bazan. Yeah, he's one of my favorite songwriters. God, that guy just. There's so much. I draw so much inspiration from that era of like time. So I go back to that and I think about like Long Winters. I don't know if you know that band at all, but John Roderick was is still, but I mean, I don't know if he writes much anymore. I think he's into politics, but
I'll tell you
great
this.
writer.
November 13th, Illiterate Light's coming to Seattle, Washington to the Freak Out Festival.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That Freak Out Festival's down in it's I know where that place is. I know I played that. Yeah, that'd be great. That's close here. I'm pretty close by. I can get there easily. I got to see them. They're great. They're fantastic.
And the way that they play live, they don't take up any part of the stage really. They're all central, but their sound and their energy fill the entire damn room. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
Well, we're actually opening for a duo on our first show here coming up on the 23rd of July at the Sunset in Seattle. It's in Ballard, and they're called Electric No-No. And they're very much that same, like, it's two brothers, basically. And they just, they're a little different than that vibe, but like they're like same sort of like when you're a duo, you really have to fill a lot of space. I think Jared, the guitar player, brings in 2 amps. I've actually been doing that too as a trio, but he brings in 2 amps and spreads them out. And one is more bassy, one is more kind of guitarish, and it just somehow it fills it out a little more. But it's awesome. It's just they're and they have just so many. They definitely draw from the old Electric No-No draws heavily from that 90s, early 2000s vibe too. I think that same sort of like energy. Yeah, they're very cool. I have to send you some stuff for that, but yeah.
I will have to check that out. Well, listen, Rob, what we're going to do is this. I'm going to get working on this evening and tomorrow, get that video out for the actual world premiere of the song that was supposed to come out.
I am so sorry, bro. I did call it a clerical error on my part. I don't know. But I did just send you in the during the break there. I sent you the link to Decisions. So maybe you haven't even heard it yet. So it'll be in. I hope you don't hate it. So
no, I'm pretty. I feel very confident in the words that I will not hate it. But I'll get that out this weekend. I don't know when the next episode's going to be. Rob will message that. We'll advertise that. If you're watching this live and you just tuned in, you can listen to the entire episode on our podcast. You just go search Soaring Fan Live wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And you listen to all of the other shows on our channel, whether it be 3 Pints of Pop, whether it be Let's Talk Vinyl, whether it be A Hitchhiker, whether it be Destined to Remember, or an evening with. There's plenty of shows and content on our YouTube channel. You can watch that too and see all of our past episodes here, including all of the Late to Party and any episodes that Robb has been on in the past. So check out our YouTube channel to search Touring Fan Live, or if you just want to listen to the audio-only version, just go wherever your favorite podcast is and search Touring Fan Live. Until next time, my name is Anthony Krysiewicz. That talented man next to me, I'm pointing the wrong way. The talented man next to me, that's Robb Benson. And I am so glad we're here talking.
Awesome.
Until next time, we're not late to the party this evening. What'd you think of that?
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Okay, good.
I love it.
All right, hit the music.
Yeah!
Oh, wrong song. There we go. Nope, wrong song. There we go.
There you go. That's a good song.
There